Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna just find the value of each ratio and we're gonna round our answer to 4 places. So for the sine of 12, and we wanna make sure our calculator is in degrees. If it's not, if it says RAD for radians, you're just gonna reset it. So sine of 12, okay, and we get 0.20791. The 1 is not 5 or more, so it's just gonna stay 0.2079. So 0.2079 would be your answer. Okay, when we're trying to find the cosine of 24, we're gonna write cos 24 and hit enter. So we get 0.91354. Again, this 4 is not big enough, so it's gonna stay 0.9135. The next one is tangent. So tan of 74, 3.4871. The 1 cannot round it up, so 3.4874. And then this last one is cosine of 20, so cosine 20, 0.93969. That 9 is big enough, right? It's closer to 7 than 6. So 0.9397. Okay, the last thing we're gonna do is find a missing side length. So on this triangle, okay, we have the right angle, then we're given that this one is 17 degrees. So that's the angle that we're gonna write our ratios like in reference to. Okay, so if we're standing at this angle, right, this side would be opposite, this side would be adjacent, and this side is the hypotenuse. Okay, so we're gonna use the cosine ratio because I want to find the adjacent side and I'm given the hypotenuse. So I'm gonna write cosine of 17 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, and now we've solved enough equations. We should know if we're trying to get x by itself, we are going to multiply both sides by 9.7. So I multiply this side by 9.7 and this side by 9.7. When you multiply and divide by the same number, it cancels out, right? That's the point. I just want x. And I'm left with 9.7 cosine of 17 equals x. Okay, so I got x by itself, but now I have this like mess over here. Well, we're gonna use our calculator and you're just gonna type in 9.7 times the cosine of 17 and hit enter. And we're rounding, we're gonna do 4 decimals again. So 9.2762. 9.2762 would equal x. So we just found the missing side of that right triangle. And if you're like, well, why couldn't we just use Pythagorean theorem? You could now, right? But we couldn't use the Pythagorean theorem because we were missing 2 sides. We don't know how long this one is. So technically I could make this one 9.3 and then do Pythagorean theorem to find out that side. Or I could use another sine ratio. Okay, so this is the angle I'm given. This side is opposite. This side is adjacent. This is the hypotenuse. So what ratio do you think we would use? We're talking about the angle 25 and I'm given 15 and I want to find x. Hopefully you said tangent because that's the one that uses opposite and adjacent. The opposite is what I want. The adjacent is what I'm given. So I'm going to do the same thing. X is being divided by 15. I'm going to multiply. So 15 times the tangent of 25 equals x. So now I just have to type that in. 15 times the tangent of 25, and I get 6.9946. 6.9946 equals x. And that's my answer.